This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. We are glad to have you with us. I'm joined this morning by Democratic Party of Arkansas Chairman Michael John Gray, former state representative and a farmer.
Yes, sir.
Who is here to talk to me really more about farming and some politics than your role as chairman of the Democratic Party, although I got some party questions.
I'll take them all. I'll take them all.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Enjoy it.
Let's talk about the latest in agriculture. We have seen an even ramped up further war with China in terms of tariffs between the U.S. and China. The president has put some more tariffs out there. There's been retaliatory tariffs and threats of more tariffs again. What are you hearing in Augusta, Arkansas as it relates to this?
Well, I think everybody needs to understand that before all of this, the farm economy was bad. Agriculture goes through cycles just like anything else, and right now it was in a really bad one. And the tariff fight and the rhetoric around it has just been insult to injury to every single farmer in America, frankly. So it's not good. Farmers are the ultimate optimist. Anybody that would go mortgage everything you've had, everything your family has, the car your wife's driving, to put seeds in the dirt and hope at the end of the year, you net what a lot of people are making at a factory working 7 to 2:30, and there's not a lot of positivity coming out of any of them right now. And it's we've seen it bad, but it always gets better. And now it's bad, but how much worse is it going to be?
Weather has been a compounding factor.
Sure.
It's been so wet out there that there have not been the normal planting season that you regularly
So, I mean,
get.
there are things you always deal with. You deal with the weather, you deal with demand, you deal with prices. What the frustrating thing is to have a manufactured crisis on top of all that. You would think that at some point the people that we have trusted with running the country would understand that there are sometimes fights that don't need to be picked when you're already down.
Right.
And we were already down.
Let's talk about what Senator Tom Cotton said this past week when he said, when I'm at home in Arkansas, I hear from farmers who are worried about opening up new markets and getting their products to market, but they also understand that China is a serious competitor to the United States and want to displace us around the world. They look at the sacrifices that soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines make around the world, and they're willing to bear some of the sacrifices in the short term. How did that comment play in your part of the world?
So, I'll be real clear. There is no one with half a brain that doesn't think that any sacrifice pales in comparison to what our servicemen and women do for us every day. And I thought that was a little bit of a political stunt by Senator Cotton to try to pit the sacrifices veterans make against what farmers are going through now. It didn't play well because, frankly, Roby, we've seen Congressman Crawford, we've seen Senator Cotton try to couch this in a temporary, short-term sacrifice. Well, for someone who is financially stable, maybe it's a short-term sacrifice. But for most of Arkansas farmers, it is a year-to-year thing. Mm-hmm. And so what may look like from Washington, if you haven't been on the farm, as a short-term sacrifice, it's the end of a career for families. And unfortunately, depression is real, life is real, it's the end of lives for some people. Mm-hmm. So this is not temporary, it is a finality. You're seeing farm incomes way down, you're seeing less farms in Arkansas than we've ever seen, less farmers in Arkansas than we've ever seen. It didn't play well. It seems like political rhetoric. And of course China has always been a bad actor in the trade war, and we all wish that we could live in America where everything was made here and everything we grew was eaten here, but we are in a world economy, and I think there are better ways to approach it. And to continue to say, we've got to punish China, well, this isn't bringing jobs back to America. These manufacturers are just shifting to Vietnam and Southeast Asia. This is political rhetoric that real people are getting hurt by.
He mentioned two markets, and this is one of the things that, this is just Econ 101. When farmers lose a market, it does not come back automatically when things change. I can remember back in the 1970s, late 70s, Jimmy Carter imposed a embargo on wheat in Russia. The American wheat industry never recovered from that embargo. We're seeing Already, Russia has said they will supply soybeans and chicken to China as a result of this, and Brazil is obviously benefiting from these soybeans. The rhetoric that I get, though, is, well, that it's all going to come from America eventually and go through those countries, but that's not necessarily
That's not
the case.
necessarily true. Some of that will happen, but at a lower price. Anytime you're selling something, there's always somebody out there waiting on you to not deliver or to not service your customer because they want to come right in. And, you know, there's a reason there's a Ford and a GM, right? It's just unbelievable the way this is being dismissed as this is no big deal, and it may not be a big deal.
Does it become a breaking point? Do you sense that farmers in Arkansas or beyond, do they get to a point where it's like, enough, I can't deal with it anymore? Are they there yet? Are they close to there? Does that day eventually happen?
I think it happens. I don't know if we're there yet in an election point of view or a political point of view, but the real breaking point is, will it be too late for all of us? Will it be too late for the farmer? Will it be too late for the small retailer that's making money in a farm community and that money's not coming in? This is not just the people that are working directly on the farm. This is the auto parts dealers, the grocery stores, the local cafes. Will it be too late? Will we have hampered them so much that where will we be? That's the real fear. Mm-hmm. Not how does it translate at the ballot box. I think that everything the president does, and unfortunately what I think every one of our Arkansas delegation in Washington, they're all doing it on how the votes are calculated. I think if they felt like they were worried about not getting reelected, they'd be standing up to the president. But unfortunately, we send people who we think are good people to Washington, and as soon as they get there, they're trying to figure out how to stay there, not necessarily take care of the people on the ground. And we're talking about Arkansas's #1 industry. It doesn't matter if you live in the Delta or Northwest Arkansas or down there in Southwest Arkansas. Agriculture is the #1 industry statewide, and they're more worried about getting reelected.
So if the threat of a Democratic challenger doesn't, I guess, intimidate the Republican incumbents, who will? What will?
I'd love to say that a threat of a Democratic challenger intimidates them. It won't until it does. It won't until it does. I think that throughout the South, you're going to have to see some Republican primary challengers that may not win, but that can wake these guys up a little bit. And I think that softens the ground for Democrats. Democrats have the right message. Farmers have done well, with the exception of Jimmy Carter. Farmers have done well under Democratic presidents. And at some point, I think this thing flips. But in the short term, it's less about politics and it's more about real life. And there's no campaign right now. They're up there, they're governing. People in Arkansas are hurting, and we sent them up there, and they need to be doing better.
All right, last question for you here. You got a crowded Democratic presidential field. I think there's about 97 people
Probably
running.
Somebody announced today,
probably
I'm sure.
while we were talking. Any plans to bring any of them here, or any of them talking about coming here? Arkansas will be an earlier primary state in terms of, we won't be as early as Iowa, obviously, but we will be up there earlier than normal.
So it's interesting because if you look at the electoral map, Arkansas is always red. There's not but we've had more than one campaign reach out. If not necessarily the principal candidate, they want to have a presence here. I wouldn't be surprised that as we get into the summer, if a couple of them don't make a stop here.
Okay. All right. He's Michael John Graves, the chairman of the Democratic Party of Arkansas. Thank you for being here.
Sir.
Hang in there on the farming front. I appreciate it. We're back with more right after this word from our sponsors.